Ndio, chukua maji mbele. Maji.
Masoja.
tunaenda kwa nyumba.
This can tell you how Nani has been and has been going on. The police have been around, bringing the heat and Oh, Nani has sound check 1 2 3. Sound check. Nani hasn't been easy, as well you can see. Sound check. Police sound check. Sound check. Two, three. Nakuja. Sound check 1 2 3. Sound check. Sound check 1 2 3. Sound check. Sound check. Tuanzie protest, alafu tutapani side kidogo. Protest, alafu side, alafu tutarudi kwa matatu. Sawa? Eh? Mwambia zime ina shake. Unaweza enda hapo. Sound check 1 2 3. Sound check 1 2 3. Sound check. Sound check 1, 2, 3. We are coming to you live from Kitengela,
Get lightning
which is
fast
actually
residential
the farthest
properties at
town
unbeatable
of
prices
Kajiado
with
County.
IP Royal. Target with precision. Take
sawa?
control over sessions and get expert
Sound check 1, 2,
support when
3.
you
Sound
need
check
it.
Kitengela
Join over
live
10,000
from
businesses using IP
Kitengela
Royal for web scraping,
in Kajiado
data collection,
County, the
retail
farthest
intelligence,
town,
and more.
connecting
IP
to
Royal,
Machakos County
one of the best
before you
price
get
quality
to
ratio on the
Nairobi
market.
County. This is actually the highway. Iko sawa? Okay. Okay.
Welcome to the Daily Show. My name is Stuart. We have a program for you tonight, par excellence. French. Also later on tonight, economists Soumaya Keynes and Chad P. Bone will be here. This is the crowd making some noise for the economists. We got the boneheads in the house. First, I want to check with everybody feeling good? You feeling good? You feeling safe? I know why. I know why you're feeling good. I know why you're feeling safe. Because Daddy's back home. Daddy's back home. He's gone for a couple of days in China. A little scared. Oh, where's Daddy? I'm so scared. Where's Daddy? But now he's home, and I'm sure he brought us all the goodies from China. Because as we all know, nobody, and I mean nobody, is tougher on China. Rhymes with vagina. Than Donald J. Trump.
The only way you're going to get along well with China is you have to deal from a position of strength.
I stood up to China like no administration has ever done before.
Nobody was tougher like on China than I was. I'm the toughest person on China anywhere in the world. There's never been anybody tougher in China than me.
He's like a bull in a china shop. Or, obviously, they called over there a shop. I'll let myself out. It's not. But all right, let's see some of that famous toughness in action. Let him have it!
I want to thank President Xi, my friend. He's a man I respect greatly. The relationship is a very strong one. You're a great leader. I say it to everybody. You're a great leader. Sometimes people don't like me saying it, but I say it anyway because it's true. I only say the truth.
Yeah, take that! President Xi, he's the only leader with the balls to come to your house and say right to your face, who's better than you? No one. And you know what? Trump's going to say something right now. Xi, you don't even have to say it back to him. You know what? That's okay. There's a lot of ways to negotiate. Sometimes you get more flies with honey. So what did you get, Mr. President? Trade barriers down? Help with Iran? Some of them delicious rare earth metals?
What's the most significant, specific thing you walk away from here for the U.S.?
I think the most important thing is relationship. It's all about relationship.
So nothing. You got nothing. You flew to China. What is it? 400 million miles? I don't know how far it is. China's far. You flew there to personally confront our rival superpower on the escalating trade and geopolitical tensions between us. And all you came back with was his Instagram. The tariffs are
Wanasema
in
kwani
place,
sisi
but we're
tunatumia
on the
mafuta
close
taa, gari
friends
yetu hawataki
story
kuiona
now.
pia kwa barabara.
Well, he's on
So we are being careful.
Look, was there any positive movement?
He said the U.S. was declining for the last 4 years. And he said what
Najua huku si
President
motorist
Trump has
gari.
done in the
These are
last
locals bwana.
15,
Hawezi sikia
16 months
kitu.
has been virtually a miracle. He said we have the hottest country anywhere in the world.
Yeah, that's what she said. No, I'm asking, is that what she said? Because that quote sounds really a lot like you. President Xi actually took you aside, Donald Trump, and actually said, President Xi said, you have the hottest country like no one has ever seen before. You only need a ballroom, that's all you need. Was there at least any information?
Hebu tuende.
Haya, anaenda na kadi, nasikia hakuna petroli kwa hiyo rudi. Enda na kadi ndio utafuta.
Sharia allows men to have more than one marriage, but it does not allow them to misuse it.
Many men take advantage of this permission to cover up their cheating.
These aren't just words of a plea written on this PIL.
Many Muslim women's voices are suppressed.
Sister Wives, Monday to Sunday at 9 p.m. on yours truly, Z World, DSTV 166 and GoTV 30.
Was there at least any information about Xi that you gleaned being over there that the United States might be able to exploit in future negotiations?
If you went to Hollywood and you looked for a leader of China, you couldn't find a guy like him. He's tall, very tall, and especially for this country, because they tend to be a little bit shorter.
What the f*** is he talking about? That you come back with like, hey, this guy, he's like, I mean, you're Chinese, you think, but this guy, So apparently when you came back with this, President Xi is apparently taller than what a 79-year-old white guy's idea of what a Chinese person's height should be. Listen, it's probably as good as we can expect from Trump. And Xi's eyes are definitely wider than I thought they'd be. Usually, can I do the eyes to show them? Is it okay if I do the eyes? And there was no pee in my coat, contrary to what I've been told. What are we doing? You might be watching this and wondering, is this guy our president? And maybe it's time to see if we can glean lessons from Trump's lies. Look, it's May. And I'm not getting questions about it. Tell me from young people. It's graduation season. Thousands of graduates are going into the world to interview for their dream job. And maybe the advice that we've been giving them all hard-work obligation. Completely wrong. Maybe we should have always been which actually can't because it was talking about Shutdown. But want to do is set the terms of the battle in the internet. I will take your fucking hand! Give me your fucking hand! Give it to me! And it's now my battle! I want your hand! Give me your fucking hand! Your prospective employer must know you're the captain now. You come out of that interview with a hand that looks any less grotesque than this one. You did it wrong. Don't look away. Look at it. That is the hand that won the interview. How did the interview go so? So now, we're in the room. Now, we're going to let the interview begin. Why do you think you're a good fit for our firm?
You know, I went to great schools. I'm not a smart person. I guarantee my IQ is much higher than any of these people. I'm good at language. I've only been good at money. I guarantee I have a vocabulary better than all of them. I know words. I have the best words. I have a very fertile brain.
That's how you do it, graduates. I cannot stress this enough. Make your answer cocky, super fucking weird. Does that mean I'm ready here that have words that are fertile brain? Brain can get pregnant, pregnant brain. Pregnant brain, big more brain. Lots of brain. The next thing.
Mitihani ya kitaifa ya darasa la 9 na kidato cha 4 inakuja. Je, mtoto wako yuko tayari? Pata revishoni au ada ya masomo ya online kutoka kwa walimu bora zaidi nchini Kenya. Tunafundisha gradi la 9 na kidato cha 4 masomo kama sayansi, maths, PCBs, biology na chemistry kila Jumamosi na Jumapili. Tunawafundisha wanafunzi revishoni ya madarasa mtandaoni. Hatutumii Zoom, Skype au WhatsApp. Na ni nafuu. Wazazi wanaona matokeo mazuri kwa watoto wao. Mpe mtoto wako msaada anaohitaji ili apate alama nzuri mitihani yao ya mwisho. Jiandikishe leo hapa na ujiunge na darasa letu la revishoni ya kila wikendi.
Sometimes, tunaweza kuwa na good in the world, but people na tunajua Safaricom and M-Pesa Foundations wako ground na more than 8,000 projects with over 8 million lives impacted. So kama wewe ni storyteller na uko na an eye for the unusual, we could use your lens to capture the good through photography or short video. Photography equipment and millions in cash to be won, including 2 national winners walking away with 1 million shillings each. Register at capturethegood.safaricom.co.ke. Terms and conditions apply.
I didn't need this job. I had a very nice life. I think I would have been a good general. My mother, she said, son, you could be a professional baseball player. I could have been a flutist. I could have been sunbathing on the beach. You have never seen a body so beautiful.
Athlete, flugist, nudist. See, now the interview come back. They got all their stupid, pre-planned bullshit questions that everybody's supposed to have a pro forma response to, and you just get knock them down one after the other. Oh, tell us about one of your weaknesses.
Yeah, I have weaknesses. I really believe I have weaknesses, but it's something I don't like discussing because I don't want to give it up.
That's the stuff. In the interview, what are your weaknesses? I don't know. Hire me and you'll find out. I got a lot of them. I'm reckless. I make decisions on impulse. I do very little planning. I'm corrupt as a motherfucker. But that's going to be my little secret until I get this job. Here's one of my weaknesses. I make all the women in the office.
It's that face, it's that brain, it's those lips, the way they move like she's a machine gun person. You don't mind being called beautiful, right? You are beautiful. I'm not allowed to say that. I said it anyway.
That's not going to be a problem in the office, is it? Oh, by the way, it's not enough to do a job here. Oh, the office line. Tell us about it.
Ndugu, enda tu vile utaenda kwanza. Unasema play. Kubaya.
You know, I started off in Brooklyn. My father gave me a small loan of $1 million.
He had to start off in Brooklyn, an outer borough, with only a small loan. I mean, if you look at the check, honestly, it's mostly zeros. Now, great. Now you've made it through the interviewer's psychological probing, meant to reveal your introspective and self-critical side. Given that nothing. Well done. These bastards right now. Maybe a little playful hobby question might be the way to unlock a new grad's real self. They really are. Something stupid like, oh, what's your favorite book that you got this?
The Bible is the best.
One of the great guys.
Boom! Perfect. Now those are going to be books you want to, schools that work in offices, parents are going to probably advise you to have read whatever book you mention as your favorite. Winners don't have that book. And what are the odds that they'll ask a follow-up?
I'm wondering what one or two of your most favorite Bible verses are.
I wouldn't want to get into it because to me that's very personal. You know, when I talk about the Bible, it's very personal, so I don't want to get into it. I don't want to get into it.
Means a lot to you that you think about or cite.
The Bible means a lot to me, but I don't want to get into specifics.
Even to cite a verse that you like.
I don't want to do that.
Deaf people who love the Bible famously hate sharing their favorite parts. It's all in there. Like to keep it on the I think we've all seen this guy at the baseball games. So by now it's pretty clear you're lying.
Probably equal.
New Testament, Old Testament.
Sound check, 1, 2, 3, sound check.
I don't get.
Sound check, 1, 2, 3.
Now, you as the interviewee have been very patient in this interview with your prospective employer.
Okay.
Questions. Conventional wisdom would say, if you want to get that job, you got to keep it that way. Calm, cool, answering questions to the best of your ability. But that just encourages them to continue this nonsense. Now it's time to let them know that just because it is literally their job to ask you questions doesn't mean they can ask you questions.
What a stupid question that is.
That's such a stupid question you asked.
And you're just asking questions because you're a stupid person. Don't ever say what you said. That's a nasty question. Why do you give me a horrible question?
It's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude.
Only a bad person would ask a question like that. I don't know who you are, but only a very evil person would ask a question like that.
Sawa.
Pepsodent is aware that globally 1 in 2 children suffer from cavities. Give her Pepsodent. It repairs tiny holes and forms a protective layer for maximum cavity protection, so she can grow up with a confident smile. Every smile matters.
Shikei.
Nataka kushuka nje. Hii kitu ya polisi spark kinaitwa nini? Gani? Hii yenye inaunganekanga hii machuma hizi. Spark. Anaitwa bwana inapote. Naitwa aje? Naitwa spikes. Wacha basi. Police spikes. Hapo naweza pumua.
Okay. Nikonea. Tanza na wao. All right. Thank you very much, Aseto, in studio, and I'm coming to you live from Kitengela, which is actually the farthest town of Kajiado County, and it connects directly to Machakos County and all the way to Nairobi County. I must say that commuters coming from Kitengela have now been affected, moving all the way to Nairobi County. These are 3 counties affected using the Kitengela-Namanga Road, and behind me, as you can see, are youths that have taken hold of the Namanga Kitengela highway, and they have lit bonfires using tires and other items, and they have actually redirected motorists to use alternative routes, because at this point here is actually the border of Machakos County and Kajiado County, and this is where they have actually put the roadblock. And so far since morning, since the protest erupted at around 7 a.m., no police have actually been witnessed on this road. Youths have actually been having their field day here, and constantly saying that they have to protest in order for the fuel prices to come down, as indicated earlier. I spoke to a few youths earlier on, and what they were saying is that what they're protesting about is the fuel prices. Food commodities are very high. Transport is actually very expensive. I don't know if my camera person can actually show you the far end where we have buses actually parked all the way, and also commuters from this side can also not continue with their businesses. A lot of circles actually are grounded, have grounded their vehicles, and nobody is moving from this side to the other side. Allow me to say that we have actually been barred by the youth from covering them for the fear of being victimized by, the government if they are seen on camera protesting, and that is why we are far away to this area. But so far, the Kitengela police station is actually a few meters from here, but no police officers have actually come out to, to quench whatever is happening on the road. Aseto, allow me to also say that this protest began at 7 a.m. in the morning up to now, and no police have come so far. As I mentioned earlier, this is the Kitengela-Namanga highway. It has been chaotic. No vehicles allowed to move in or out, and this is actually the road that connects Machakos County and all the way to Nairobi County. We will be going ahead to Mlolongo, where we have the way bridge, to see if any activities are actually ongoing. But at the moment, we cannot move back to Kitengela, or rather into Kajiado County, because of the many roadblocks that the youths have actually put up using the bonfires that they have lit. As I said, we have actually been barred by the youths from approaching them, because they are afraid of being victimized of organizing the protest. Allow me to give you a view of what is happening on the other side. I hope my camera person can give you the right photos or images that are coming from Kajiado County. This is the border in the EPZ road heading to Kitengela town and Kajiado, to be more precise, from Kitengela, the Mlolongo highway. Aseto, what has happened here since morning is what the youth have called protests to tell the government that they need to lower the prices of fuel, and that includes diesel and petrol, which have surged very high in the historic record of Kenya. Youths have said they will be out here until the president, or rather the authorities, address them to tell them the way forward, because now they cannot afford essential commodities. Earlier on at around 6 a.m. I was at Kitengela Market, and a few lorries were there packed, and nobody was actually offloading or loading the items because the market is equally closed. And the shops in Kitengela are equally closed. We have seen Kitengela town in previous protests, how things usually erupt into being chaotic scenes, youths looting their shops. And that is why perhaps most of the shop owners and business operators opted to put their shops closed rather than opening on such a specific day. Aseto, I will be coming back to you with more details of what happens, but so far those are the live scenes from Kitengela town, and this is actually the border of Machakos County and Kajiado County. Back to you, Aseto. Utakuja kuongea? Utaongea?
Kama Gen Z. Bana John anafaa kuteremsha mambo mazuri. Unaona hata mattress ile hapa. Yeye akaanjo.
Umechua huko ndani?
Hapa. Hata damu zinawakia hapo kwa moto ndani. Woni nawaka juu. Ama stima iko mbali. Hakuna stima iko hapo.
Wamepeleka huko juu. Konde wameka hapo juu. Konde wameka hapo juu.
Sijaona mattress ikipelekwa pale. Wamepandisha mpaka juu.
Unasema tu kwa nini mnaandamana?
Leta niongee.
Haya, nyinyi mnasema mnataka aje juu ya mafuta. Mafuta. Sawa. Hiyo ni sawa. Tu record. Kuja hapa
Bana.
Si ubaki tu hapo kwa bike. Kuja na bike. Eka tu bike hapa. Kuja. Naona bonga. Kama hapa.
Lazima niwawakilishie. Kama Kitengela resident mbaya.
Nakushikia? Songa huko. Songea hapa karibu. Songea hapo karibu. Utatoa nini kofia? Hiyo.
Utoe kofia?
Ya bike ndio tuwaone nini vizuri. Hivyo.
Ya yangu iko sawa hapo, sio?
Atoa hiyo ya bike. Ubaki na mavi.
Huyo apito, hiyo ni mgongo.
Hiyo iko sawa. Iko sawa? Twende. Nisimame hapa. Hapa. Iko sawa? Alright. So utaanza kwa majina, alafu utatuambia tangu bei ya mafuta kupanda hali imekuwaje katika biashara yako?
Kwa majina naitwa Teri na bebe hapa Kitengela. So hali ya maisha hapa imekuwa ngumu tangu mafuta ipande, hata kazi hakuna, customer wanalalamika bado wataongezewa mshahara. So maisha imekuwa ngumu hata sisi. Rent pia nayo hatuna. Tunahangaika tu. Tunaomba
pengine mmepandisha bei au mmepandisha kwa
Okay, kwa majina naitwa Daniel Olo. Mimi ni mkaaji wa hapa Kitengela na pia nabebea hapa Kitengela. Ile changamoto tumekuwa nayo kuhusu tangu mafuta ipande, tuko na kuongeza bei inakuwa shida, cause ukiongezea customer bei anakuambia sisi hatujaongezewa mshahara. So unapata ni changa.
Sawa. Hapa?
Okay, tangu mafuta ipande tumekuwa na changamoto mingi sana cause okay. Tangu mafuta ipande tumekuwa na changamoto nyingi sana jo, unapata sisi inakuwa ngumu tuongeze bei kwa customer cause ukienda kuambia mtu muongeza bei anakuambia na sisi, je, sisi hatujaongezewa mshahara. Kwa hivyo sisi tungeomba serikali ikitusikiza ingetupunguzia hii mambo ya mafuta irudi chini, at least mwananchi wa kawaida asisikie uchungu hii yenye tunapitia saa hii. Kwa hivyo tumekuwa na changamoto nyingi sana, kama leo unaona vile mambo iko. Jana ilikuwa ni weekend, tulikuwa natarajia leo tukiamukia job at least tutapata kitu kurudi nayo kwa nyumba. Unaona mambo imekuwa hivi, inamaanisha kwamba kesho ama leo itapita hivyo na hatujui pia ya kesho. So ni kazi ngumu sana kwetu kuendelea na maisha yetu ya kawaida. So tungeomba serikali waturumie, waturudishie mafuta chini.
Sawa. Nizungumze na huyu kabla tuondoke, unieleze tu nyinyi kama wanabodaboda, pengine mtajiunga pamoja na watu wa matatu ambao wamegoma au mmepanga vipi?
Kama vile wanavyoona ni kama tushajiunga nao already juu hali ya mafuta pia imetuathiri sisi watu wa boda. Ukiangalia mafuta, ukienda kuwekea mafuta, hakuna lita moja ya gari na hakuna lita moja ya bike. Sote siko same na price. So lazima tujiunge nao juu imetuathiri pia na sisi pia.
Asante. Majina umesema unaitwa nani?
Majina yangu naitwa Ezra Maika.
Wewe kama kijana hapa leo, vijana wenzako wametoka kwa wingi sana ili kuandamana. Kipi hapo tunafanya
bana jo tunapelekea familia nyumbani. Sasa unaona leo hakuna shughuli inafanyika, mambo imekuwa tu ni mwecheche. Yaani imekuwa tu ni ukuvi ke wakinyakola hili tu watu wa pili nao bei kutu. Sema vipi baba? Hakuna kitu kingine. Mambo yako ni halala. Vijana hapa tuna noma. Hapa sisi tunakuja kujibizi na boli. Watu wako wengi. Sisi tuko tu sawa. Hakuna tena kwa manini. Sisi tuko sawa. Tuko sawa.
Yeah, indeed, as you have heard, those are the voices of the people who are here at the Nairobi bus terminus, where we have transport brought to a halt because there are no matatus running here, there are no matatus leaving. We have just a handful of the vehicles already parked, no passengers, and that means that everything has been brought to a halt. And the same situation is being witnessed in other terminus within the town. It might be so great that the operators are saying that they are not ready to receive the vehicles from the roads, and this is not just the road, but also in other towns around where we have similar incidents or similar situation being reported. This is an issue that we are still taking high note to ensure that we give our viewers with the report. We are at the bus terminus. The operators of the people are still waiting
Niko.
Kwa hivi.
Mimi ni mkazi wa Mlolongo. Kulingana na mimi, bei ya mafuta imeniumiza sana juu mimi ni mkwandudu, nategemea industry ya mafuta na hiyo bei yake. Sasa kama mimi nafanya kuna pesa inapatikana, tunangojea kazi kazi imetoka kulingana na hakuna kazi inafanyika leo, ni kama
haya sema. Yes, tuko na shida. Hakuna mtu mwenye anaweza furahi kama mapema. But the fact ni shida yenye iko ni shida yenye iko. Kama nchi, kama Wakenya, lazima waangalie vile tunasaidiana. So ombi letu ni wana uchukuzi wako wanazungumza na serikali, tuangalie mahali inapita. Lakini pia tunaomba kuwa uchukuzi urudi, huduma iendelee kwa nchi, wananchi tusukume, serikali punguze, then tupate mahali. Anilo halide mchanga, anja boda boda ndio. Wangeo ni manie pili. Kendo wasemi kasika naongea midu kama raia. Lakini ukonyani muondo ni modo penye ni okefara. Nikisikia ongea zaibe get transportation. Ongea mwana nodi. Koro jomari ambo matatu kigeje. Oduoga epa mondo jopin udugoti wajeti chini wa odongero na maro.
Unaita viaje mtu wa beti? Hakuna mafuta.
Uliza toke ni ngapi?
Mbona tutoka hapo mkuu?
Itaenda hiyo.
Ametuambia tutoke hapo.
Msikakaribie chuma. That is the new technique.
Yeah.
Nimeona watu wanaibiwa vitu. Nowadays process is a lot of stealing.
Sana.
Ajisikia anafanya biashara kwa uhuru na pia kwa furaha. So, na nikimalizia
una
leo
stream wapi?
Hata kama wanaandamana wasiharibu vitu za wenyewe, wahakikishe kuna kuja kupigana wenyewe kwa wenyewe. Hapa namna gani wananchi? Sisi ni mandugu. Sisi tunaongea na serikali isikize sauti yetu na baadaye ishushe hiyo bei, watu warudi kazi. Hapa namna gani? Na kama hata sikiza hiyo maneno, mimi nikisikiza ground vile inasema ni wapi? Lakini kama watatengeneza sisi ambao tunaweza badilisha hiyo maneno iwe kwa sasa.
Wangekuwa sharti.
How are you? Malcolm.
Nice to meet you. Vicky.
She's a blogger.
Nyoji tafadhali. Nyoji. One down. Nyoji.
Nimetembea kutoka mbali my friend. Ni hoji bwana.
All this. Weka hiyo kitu on.
Ni hoji.
Wewe ni wapi? Umetoka wapi?
Baba dogo, imagine Kalesa hivi. Na vile niko smart hivi, imagine msupa. One time.
On.
One time.
Ngoja.
Mimi Kiswahili ndio tunaelewana vizuri.
Alright.
Tell me kwa nini?
Sababu niko hapa ni juu nimeenda kazi nikaambiwa nirudi nyumbani. Hakuna gari. Imagine nimetembea kutoka baba dogo. Theka road yote nimetembea mpaka sasa hii nasikia uchungu. Yenyewe one time. Uliza swali hili.
Watu wanatesekaje?
Watu wanateseka bana. Wewe imagine hawa watu wote sasa wangekuwa kazi. Hizi duka zote sasa zingekuwa zinauza. Hapa kuna janga Sitiopa, KBS na hakuna hata moja. Huyu jamaa anafanya vizuri kweli.
Fanya vizuri.
Kuja unisaidie hata wewe. Huyu jamaa afanye poa.
Unataka serikali kusaidiaje?
Serikali tafadhali punguza mafuta ama one time. Mr. Ruto tafadhali nataka unione. Wewe usipopunguza mafuta one time.
Hata akipunguza bado.
Hata akipunguza wewe ni one time tu hivyo Hakuna venye mimi naweza tembea hivi na niko smart imagine. Na naenda Lang'ata bado sijafika. Hiyo si ni makosa. Hebu wewe tuambie pia wewe unasikiaje?
Can you tell us your name?
Jina. Mimi naitwa Brian. Wacha niseme ya pili naweza finywa.
What's the name?
Brian Ongea kuja. Bwana ongea. One time.
What's the name? Brian what? There you go.
Yeah, I'm Arcadius. Actually, I'm Arcadius. The reason why I'm here, first of all, I came from my home to work. But kufika kazi, I was told there's no job. There's no shop which has been opened. People we are protesting. By the way, there's no one who is safe right now. Everything is high. We have been actually the government is overtaxing us. They are not taxing us. They are overtaxing us. So the reason why I'm here, actually, ni kusaidia youth wenzangu by the way. Tukiona watoto wako hapa, si ati tuko na uzuri. Huwezi kaa kwa nyumba, you cannot stay at home because you have nothing to take. You have money. Unakuja kazi, unapata kumefungwa, people are protesting. So actually we are urging the government at least to listen to Kenyans. At least even they are taxing. If they are taxing by the way, waangalie pia sisi, we are not rich, we are poor. So this government, it seems like it belongs to those people who are rich. Sisi hatu belong by the government. So at least yes, watusikize.
If they don't reach an agreement, what happens to the common mwananchi?
Actually, the common mwananchi will still survive. Right now, there isn't an agreement. That's why we are suffering. So when they take time without resolution, we'll still just survive.
Tell me your name.
Actually, I'm a kid.
Thank you.
Require us to get our own content. So if you want to film this one, that's fine. But then we will need to speak to somebody else.
Let's be together.
Sorry.
Let's have unity so that these things should be one term. We don't.
Sorry. If you want to speak to this person, that's fine. But maybe we can speak to somebody else because I'm sure our bosses are going to require us to get some content that's just for them. So if you want to, Please go ahead and we can speak to someone else. Would you like to interview this guy? I'm ready now. Yeah. So she will speak to you.
Okay.
And then us will speak to somebody else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's show you. Cool.
No problem.
Ongea tu. Like, what do you want? Mafuta imekufanyia nini? Imekukost ngapi?
Kanjo. As boda riders, we are tired. We have stress within town, within CBD. We are not working. The only thing that we need, we want to stand firm and stand with one term. There is no thing that we are going to have two terms or wherever. We are tired of this president. Let him freely go home to Sigoi, take care of wherever. Let's stand together as one. Boda riders, what we say? One term. That is this. We don't have anything. In fact, even we are supposed to go and count for ourselves. We vote. You just take a picture of what you have voted, we put it online so that you can count. When we are counting them,
One term, always one term.
That is the thing that we want.
One term, siku zongo.
We are tired of this life. That is what we need.
Kasongo must go.
You just see how the town is.
Kasongo lazima uende one
There's
term.
no work. Kasongo should go home. That is what I can say. That is the thing.
Damu ni moja. Hebu ni text WhatsApp.
quite some time. And protesters, the police might be able to reopen the highway because it's a major transport road, and but at the moment there are tires burning, stones on the roads, and we have the police just trying to get the situation in control. At the moment I can see they have logged
Sema mashida zetu.
Semeni basi.
One time only.
Mambo na one time achana. Hakuna mtu anasema
unaogopa kushikwa?
Mimi niko one time.
Apart from kusema one time, mnataka nataka kuambia nini serikali? Mnaogopa? Hamwezi shikwa.
Hii ni iko live wapi?
Kuna gari mbili.
Downtown hakuna kitu.
Oh.
hapa jana. Hapa ni anaongea mpaka wenye walikuwa hata jana hapo. Hapa ni sisi hatukubaliana hivyo. Unaona watu wakikwambia hivyo mbele ya kamera hivyo. Basi kuna shida kubwa sana.
Hivi la
kwamba kama utakia attention nyingi kwa serikali yetu hiyo attention inaleta hata jana hiyo wamefunza na tena kufanya sana kwa sababu ya dola piga na simu ngumu sana hapo sasa tunaweza na picha tuongeza muda saa hii tulikuwa tunaweza kubeba 200 300 huko miki atasema watu watanitendea maana yake hiyo so yeye hajaongezewa na mwajiri wake ile mshahara sasa wewe kumwambia kuongezea tunaumia niruhusu nipige picha wala askari sawa? Sawa ndio. Sasa ofisi na gani? Kwa live. Baya na anapiga lakini anauliza ni wapi safe wako peke yake. Kali baada ya kutoa sana mambo siku tunamaliza. Hapo kwa kwenye kapiti sika kumalizia. Chama za interview sasa. Kwenye interview nyingi mpaka hata kupima nia zote. Sana sio hata kufanya kitu kimoja. But hapana uko tu sawa.
hata nikiendesha tu.
But siende downtown. Siende downtown. Ndio hapa. Siende downtown. Kule chini ndio kwa polisi. But hapa kwenda huko kuna polisi.
Sawa.
Wote hivi mnaenda hivi. Wakati tunampigia mzee mlisema umezeeka.
huyu amekuja sana. Ndio check. Wewe check pale. Twende. Ndio, watu wanaingia. Unaendaje? Kama wanafukuzwa ama
Oh, I was in the maybe.
At least, hey.
Lakini si basi.
Biashara imekuaje siku ya leo?
Songa hivi kidogo. Media. Wapi? Session gani?
Ati?
Uko media gani?
Digital.
Yako tu. Na platform inaitwa
Biki Masai.
Biki Masai. YouTube.
Thanks.
Leo umebeba wateja wangapi?
Tuko kwa live bro.
Asante sana. Nizungumze na mwenzangu hapa pia, utanieleza kwa majina yako kamili na uniambie kupandishwa wewe binafsi umepandisha nauli kwa wateja wako au imekuwa kawaida?
Kwa majina ni Ken, mimi mhudumu wa bodaboda. Tangu mafuta ipande nayo shughuli imekuwa mbaya. Hata ukisema unapandisha hakuna mteja atakubali. Maana ashazoea ile bei ya kitambo na mafuta nayo iko pale pale. So wajaribu kutuangalia hapo sehemu ya mafuta kama wanaweza tupunguzia. Manake hadi si hali.
Jana alikuwa?
Inafaa ulipe.
Jana sikuwa.
Inafaa ikule. Kuna kitu
na nyinyi kama wana bodaboda pengine mmejiunga na watu wa matatu katika mgomo au watu wa matatu kwa maoni yako?
Sisi hapo sisi tuko pamoja, ni venye bado ijaingia street huku kwetu vizuri.
Okay. Lakini mnahisi uchungu wa mafuta?
Uchungu tunahisi. Wajaribu kuangalilia hiyo sehemu.
Asante sana. Aseto, there are a lot of motorists right here in Syokimau, and this is actually the Nairobi Mombasa highway. What you can see from the images, live feeds from my camera person, is actually motorists parked here. This is to show you that they are not actually in business today because there is a go-slow of matatus, and so they have joined in solidarity, and maybe perhaps because most of the Kenyans have actually not come out of their houses to commute to their various places of work. Aseto, allow me to also tell you that earlier on when I was in Kitengela, protests erupted at around 7 a.m. all the way up to right now when I've just left the town. The town is chaotic, and youths have actually lit bonfires all the way from the Kajiado Machakos border all the way to the Namanga Kitengela highway. Kitengela has actually come to a standstill with all businesses closed down. The market area is actually closed down. Most of the circles, matatu circles, have actually not operated today from Kitengela. And that is why images coming to you live are actually images, live feeds from the expressway, and this is actually the Mombasa-Nairobi highway. What you can see is not the usual Nairobi-Mombasa highway. normally there are a lot of vehicles on this highway, but today you can actually count a few people that are actually trying to make their ways in and out of Nairobi or in and out of Mombasa, as you can see. And the expressway, to be more precise, is actually one of the busiest roads being used in Nairobi all the way to Kitengela. But as you can see today, not much activity is happening, and this is actually Syokimau all the way to Mlolongo and into Kitengela. Aseto, I will pitch camp right here in this highway, and more precisely in Kajiado County, that is the far end of Kitengela, and bring to you to speed of what is happening concerning the go-slow of matatu operators, which has actually affected most residents not to go to their various workplaces. And Aseto, that is it from me. Back to you in studio.
Thank you, Vera, for that update. As you continue to bring us up to speed as well, we just ask that you keep safe. Do you
kwa ile bonfire pole. Na record pia.
Country bus. We can. Country bus tapata shots for. Chairman. Kita walk. Hivi matriza hapa. Na Meru kama tunabeba ama hiki ilikuwa Nairobi.
Well, Seto, I am at and I'm just at the roundabout section leading to Road South. This is Kabiti Road, and just to give you an overview of what is happening here, the youth were gathered here. They were blocking, motorbike riders from ferrying, passengers. Any motorbike that was seen ferrying passengers would be, stopped, and the passenger would be forced to alight, and the motorbike to proceed without any theft. But as things have progressed right now, right as you can see behind me, this was a construction site. and it had been, barricaded using iron sheets. But at the moment, it has been, demolished. The iron sheets have been, taken by a section of rowdy youth who are here, and they're still demolishing it. And one would wonder why, but that is the situation right here at, Thika Road. For the better part of the morning, there has been some sort of, running battles between the police and the section of the youth before the police sort of managed to, neutralize the situation in terms of, road being barricaded, road fires being lit, the police calling on, the protesters to just remain calm, not to rob anybody, because earlier on, like I alluded to previously, we saw a section of youth who had barricaded the road to Kidubai, and there were passengers who were using, private, vehicles, and that's not the situation here. Tension that is going against the as you can see again, it is a construction site that has been barricaded using iron sheets that has been, vandalized. The iron sheets have been, taken away by those, who had rather broke into that particular construction site. But generally, the situation here was a bit calm for the better part of the morning. But now it is pretty good. Declaration happening there by the section of youth who are crowded here. But public service vehicles remain and no show. We don't see any public service vehicle applying this particular route. Only see personal vehicles which are allowed to pass, but no public service vehicles. But earlier on, along the also interchange, we saw quite a number of public service vehicles applying the Thika Road route, and they charge passengers an exorbitant fare, because for a place where they pay 50 bob or 70 bob at most, they're now paying 300, and leaving many Kenyans stranded as they plead with the government to ensure that they address this issue of the high cost of fuel. They say, and like you all know, the high cost of fuel directly translates into the high cost of living. The cost of fuel rises, that translates to the cost of common commodities skyrocketing here in the country. So we'll keep tabs with the situation here, just to make sure that you are well informed in regards to what is happening along the Thika Road, just like many areas across the country. But again, just to highlight is that the situation is jammed right now. It's being those using personal vehicles, unlike a couple of hours ago along the route to Kidubai. Back to the city.
houses in the region. Ethiopia fuel is normal. You go to Uganda, you go to Burundi, yet their fuel passes through Kenya. Can members of parliament finally go back into their houses, propose a bill, amend the same, and look at how Kenyans will have it easy? That is where we are. Reporters would say asanteni sana for an amazing job that you are doing, bringing us up to speed with what is happening across the country. It is my time to step out, but right now it is senior animals who will be getting in, will be encouraging to continue with this production, bringing you what is happening here at the pump. Dennis Seto, don't go nowhere, we'll be back.
Janet was filled with joy when she learned she was pregnant, always dreaming of becoming a mother. She
Tunasema hakuna kungoja tena, watu wangu, tunazungumzia ligi inayobebwa kote duniani, the biggest of the best, ligi ya EPL msimu mwaka 2025
26 anawaka moto jamani. Taswira yote tunasoma.
In studio with us, we have CS Treasury John Mbadi to tell us why our fuel costs so much, amongst many other things. Welcome, CS. Karibu sana.
Thank you very much, Mariam, and the rest of us.
Waboy.
Yes.
Good morning.
And good morning to Kenyans.
Hey, is it a good morning?
Good morning.
We'll get into
it will always good morning. Challenges will always be there, but you thank God for giving your life, because that's the most important.
Very true. Let's get into the day with the quote of the day. Phalaris will share it with you really quickly, and then we can talk about the cost of fuel.
Absolutely. Today's quote is courtesy of Napoleon Bonaparte, who was a French military leader. And the quote reads, "Nothing is more difficult and therefore more precious than to be able to decide." Nothing is more difficult and therefore more precious than to be able to decide. CS, how does that speak to you this good morning?
Good morning. You know, I like that quote because really in our lives, decision is the most critical thing to make, and always we'll be confronted with conflicting positions. So therefore, you should have the ability always to make decisions. And the decision you make has implications. If you make a wrong one, you with it. If you make the right decision, again, then
it's a morning of decisions that have been made, and hence why we're they're seeing the situation as is. And it's only fair that we start this conversation with the state of, affairs as far as transport and energy is concerned. Now, April, Kenyans woke up to the craziest price hikes, and everybody's looking to government for a response. Schools are closed, people are not able to make it to work, yet here we stand with no official position from the government in terms of how this situation is being addressed.
Thank you very much. First of all, let me make it clear that what we are seeing is a bit unfortunate. The prices have gone high, that's a fact, and it is really hurting, and it has hit the economy, leave alone even the strike that we see today. The general economic indicators will not be performing as earlier projected, because with high prices there will be high inflation. We will have a problem in interest rates. There may even be a problem going forward with our forex reserves, which may affect the exchange rates, and with all the consequences. So this is a matter that we are really watching closely as a government, and we adjust and make decisions which are informed and not emotional decisions. This is not the time to make emotional decisions. I must repeat. When I attended the spring meeting in April, when actually there were still hopes that the war would stop quickly, but you could see the almost 80% of the discussion around that conference was on the impact of this US-Iran war. This is a war that we have not caused. It's a war that is caused by other people, but because we don't have the ability to stop it, it has to hit our economies. And my concern is that we are trying to solve a global problem applying domestic means, which I think is not appropriate. In my view, I think the strike is completely uncalled for, even though the prices of petroleum products have risen. It's completely uncalled for, because we need to understand why these prices have gone up. Number one, if you take the prices of petroleum products on the 28th of February, 2026, when the war broke out, I will give you just one example. The price of diesel, what they call the Platts price or index price, without adding the premiums, was at 642 per metric ton. Now that has risen today to 1,120 per metric ton. That is an increase of 76% of the prices. Now look at how the prices have changed in Kenya. That diesel, the price from February to now has risen by about 55%. Therefore, it means that already the government has absorbed about over 20% before you bring in the premiums to the price. And the same with petrol. In fact, petrol, the government has even absorbed more. If we were to leave the prices without any intervention as a government, diesel today would be costing us not less than 35 shillings more. And petrol actually would be costing us over 70 shillings more. About 311 would be the price of petrol. So already the government has intervened. There may be calls for more intervention, but we have also to balance it out. Let me just point out this clearly. From April to now, how much has the government spent on trying to push or reduce the prices of petroleum products? We have reduced VAT from 16% to 8%. That is a loss of at least 12 billion per month. And that's for the 2 months, it is 24 billion shillings. We have also applied the fuel subsidy, and that fund had 17 billion at the start of this crisis. And this crisis started getting felt in April because we were still using the stock of the previous supplies and also the orders that had already been made. Now, if you take again, in the month of April, we applied 6.2 billion. And then this month, we have applied 5 billion. In that kitty, we have just about 5 billion left to take us to the end of the financial year. Now, that is another 6.2 plus 5.2, another 11.2. Add to 24 billion, the government has already spent, so to speak, an expenditure of 35 billion in 2 months. And this is a crisis that we don't know when it will end. And so, it is not something to really politicize, in my view. And I understand this very clearly, Latif. When I was coming here and I told some of my friends, 2 of them, that I was coming to discuss, that I've been invited to discuss this fuel crisis. They thought I was making a mistake, that I shouldn't even talk about it. But again, in leadership, you must confront difficult situations and explain to Kenyans exactly what is happening, so that we find a solution based on facts and objectively, instead of just criticizing that nothing is happening. We have done something. We may do more. The government will discuss if we can do more. But you have to balance it off with the entire macroeconomic fundamentals. And I will come to tell you that our budget is also facing a strain. So there is a limit you can go.
What's the limit? Because so far, what you're telling us is by foregoing 24 billion shillings on VAT.
Yes.
In those 2 months.
Right.
And by spending, this is money, the Petroleum Development Levy, really, I don't say an expenditure in government. This is money that we put into a kitty for such rainy days.
Correct.
Right? In every time we're buying fuel. So it had 17 billion shillings, you've already drawn down 11.2 billion shillings. It's okay. From the 24 billion on VAT, on tax, on direct tax, what is your limit? How much can you push on foregoing tax and cutting down on the expenditure side so that you can cushion Kenyans?
Well, Latif, just tell you that we can't go this much. We have to sacrifice, and we have to decide as a country the level of sacrifice. You know, when you are in a crisis situation, you sacrifice. And the limit of sacrifice cannot be determined by one day event. Depending on how this crisis continues in the Middle East, we may end up sacrificing more. And you have talked about cutting expenditure. It is easy to say that we can cut expenditure, but a lot of our expenditure lines are so inflexible. I will tell you, even if I could take you to the next, out of the money that we collect, the 3.63 trillion that we are likely to collect, 1.5 is going to go into debt repayment. You have no latitude there. And about another trillion, I mean, am I talking about billion or trillion? 3.6 trillion. 1.5 trillion is going to debt repayment. 1 trillion will go into paying salaries. There's no flexibility there. We have about 4, so that leaves you with 1.1. Now, out of the 1.1, 420 will go to counties. That leaves you with less than 700 billion. And you have not brought in other recurring expenditure that cannot be delayed. You have not brought in CDF that goes to our constituencies and many others. And that you have not even touched development. And part of that, our development budget is so inflexible because they are donor funded and donor negotiated. And you also have to bring in what we call the counterpart funding for those projects. So you have to balance all these things. There's areas you can cut. And by the way, even in the security sector, that I've been asked sometimes to put so much money.
You keep adding money.
Yeah, you keep adding money. But look, we are in an environment, we are in a fiscal position in this world that exposes us a lot. We are neighboring Somalia here. You can see there is a crisis in Sudan and the rest of the region. If we don't spend money on security, especially on NIS to gather intelligence, we may not even have an economy the following day. So all these interests have to be balanced. And that is why we said, yes, let's reduce VAT to 8%. We have already absorbed that. We are absorbing it. You are right. In terms of the fuel subsidy, that is the role for which it was meant. But again, you can only go so much, because what is in the budget, what had remained at that time was 17 billion. We have already spent 12 billion. We still have a few days left. Next financial year, out of a budget in that fund, because it's a fund that is created through a statute, and the amount allocated for it is defined by law. So you may find that if this war progresses for another 1 year, we will spend so much and we'll exhaust the fund. We'll have to then cut other levies. If we cut other levies, it's going to hurt the budget. So we have to balance off all this. And it is not something that you wake up one day, like another friend of mine woke up in one day and is telling us, remove the 7 shillings. He knows very well, he's a member of cabinet. He knows very well that 7 shillings is not available. That money has been securitized, and that that is what has unlocked the road construction that we see in this country. Today, you don't hear the public talking about the president is watching, including the Mau Mau routes they started. So many of them are now going on. They would have stalled one boy.
Okay, hold on.
So
I hear you. What you're
yes.
saying is that you are caught between a rock and another rock, and that you are somewhere where you and so
Latif, can I just correct you? I am not saying we can't squeeze something, but it's at our price. And that is why the government cannot just rush into motion position. We have to look at what is the possibility of this war dragging even further. So if we are taking action today, for how long? Yes.
It is, we knew when the war started that it's going to have an impact. Okay?
Correct.
So you definitely sat at cabinet level and you started projecting the impact. You're even telling us, you went to Washington the other day,
yes,
and that's the whole, everybody, for the World Bank and IMF conversations, that's what everybody from across the globe was discussing. So even coming back home, you knew that this is the issue to be. It is not a one-day thing, Waziri, the way you're putting it. You know, the one day we wake up and make a decision. No, we had more than 2 months to make that decision. We are where we are today because of the decision that you've made over those 2 months. And Kenyans are asking, is this the best decision that this government of ours could have made? Right? I want to come back and look at the price and the tax, right? And then tell me what is the inflexible bit there, and say therefore what from our side of the budget, where we also don't have flexible income, what do you want us to do to flex so that we can afford to live this life? It's 29 minutes after 7. The Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Economic Planning, John Mbadi, is our guest. We also have our reporters on the ground who can be showing what we're showing on the road, and we're also seeing very many people who are telling us what's happening on the roads. Let's take this quick break. When we come back, we'll sample some of what you're saying on the road about the situation on the roads.
Tell us where you are, show us what's happening as far as the Matatu strike is concerned. If you're able to get any form of public transport, if you're walking, if you're staying home. We're looking at Wayaki Way, footage from Wayaki Way right now, and it just looks pretty clean. For the most part, it does not look like a Monday morning. It does not even look, even Sunday. It's somewhere in between a public holiday and it's like a Christmas. Yeah, like a Christmas period.
No. There are very many people on the road. On a public holiday, you wouldn't have this number.
People walking. That's true.
So many people who are just walking. This is one road as well now.
Just one Matatu.
Yeah.
That's coming down onto Nairobi Hospital. That's the roundabout, and just that one Matatu. Everything else, even the lack of traffic just tells you how thick things are.
Situation on Thika Road, this is how it looks like. And the Thika Superhighway, so it's just the personal vehicles that are occupying this route. No matatus on site, a few borders as we can see, but matatus will be very, very, very many. And so this road will be very busy at such a time. So that's how the situation is looking like. And everybody who's just getting online and asking us, so what does it look like on the roads? This is what it looks like. Matatus, not many, just a few matatus on the roads. And of course, those have hiked their fares. And like we're told by has stretched that they normally charge 100 bob, they're now charging 200. So double the fare. Will people be able to afford it? And those are just the ones who decided, let's operate today. Many decided not to operate. Not many, even taxis have also, many of them have decided not to operate. Even borders have also, many have decided not to operate. We can see a lot of feedback coming in. They say, telling us what the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury is saying. As we get back into this conversation on the CS, let's just compare the price of petrol, where the subsidy was not applied this time. The petrol landed in Mombasa at 117 shillings and 82 cents equivalent. 117.82 cents. This is according to April. And then, so the first thing, of course, we add is storage and distribution, which is 4 shillings and 99 cents. Then oil marketing margins
which combined are 17 shillings and 59 cents. Wholesale at 6 shillings, and in retail and retail and operating margin at 11 shillings, right? So, and then now we come to taxes, and taxes are a combined 74 shillings. That is more than the all marketing margin and the transport cost. It's 74 shillings. Out of 117 landing at Mombasa, 74 is taxes. Excise duty 21 shillings and 25 cents. Road maintenance levy 25 shillings. Petroleum development levy 5 shillings and 40 cents. Petroleum regulatory levy 75 cents. Railway development levy 2 shillings and 24 cents. Merchant shipping levy 3 cents. Import declaration fee 2 shillings and 80 cents. VAT is at 8%, 15 shillings and 87 cents. That is what is taking the price of petrol to 214 shillings and 25 cents. Having landed at 117.82 cents. Very huge spike. Diesel is at 242.92, even despite fuel stabilization of 14 shillings and 57 cents and 51 cents. And kerosene has gotten an injection of 91 shillings and 59 cents stabilization. That's why the price is at 152 and 78. This is still very high. You look at just the taxes component. And you're saying you need these taxes to run the government. But then if you pass on this to the consumer who is supposed to be paying you the other taxes, are you going to be able to get anything? If matatu operators and others are saying we can't because we can't hike the fare because people will not afford. So what's the balance there?
So the balance is what I'm saying. Consequences of what you take, the decision. The 74 shillings could be high. And of course, it would have been higher if we added another 15 shillings. So that would have taken about 89 shillings. And then we have the fuel subsidy, which has also already subsidized the price. It would have been much, much higher. Now this 74, you can forgo part of it, or all of it. But what is the effect on our budget? We have a budget that is running up to June. It is inflexible. You cannot go and say, I will stop paying salaries because we have organized before. You will not stop our security operations. You will not stop transferring money to countries. You will not stop paying our debts. So that is why we looked at, we took a decision at a time when prices and we reduced the VAT to 8%. That was a decision that we took, and already we have absorbed that 12 billion times 2. And we are going to absorb it further because from June, again, going into July, we will still be operating within this financial year largely. So it is already something that we have absorbed. The government could be discussing, and I said the other day, we will again sit down with the president, but that is not something to be done with emotions. You have to look at consequences. When you reduce further VAT, where are you going to cut? Which part of the expenditure are you going to cut? As you can see today, I read in the papers, and Parliament is up in arms that we are not giving them enough money, and yet we have allocated 48 billion for Parliament, and every other institution in this country, every other MDA is complaining about low budgetary allocation. So you have to balance all these instead of, and you don't know when this war will end. That is something else. In fact, Latif, you said before we went to the break that we had 2 months. This war has been difficult to predict. You don't even know what will happen tomorrow because there are a lot of communications that sometimes you hear there is a peace, ceasefire, temporary. Then tomorrow that ceasefire does not exist. You hear people are going to Pakistan to discuss, then you hear there is no discussion. So this, and then there is Strait of Hormuz is blocked, and that is where the bulk of fuel for African countries come from. Now our oil marketers have been forced to go elsewhere to look for fuel, and the distance and the freight, unfortunately for us, we had this. The G2G has helped us in the sense that the freight charges is much, much lower than what it is in our neighboring countries because we are at $88 per metric tons. The others are now at 250. But again, all that is still absorbed by the high cost of fuel from to when it And so we can only hope that this war will end. But as we hope, and it is not ending, we take some decisions. I am sure, as a government, we'll sit again when the president comes. He will have to look at what else can we do. But let us not be emotional about this.
Initially, emotional when you're walking to work. Essentially, when you are unable to, your children can't go to school. We had so many fixers saying, "Are my children staying home today?" Medical services who have an appointment, could be an emergency situation, could be a weekly appointment, a monthly appointment. Another fixer was talking about seeing how many people are walking to KNH today. Ordinarily would have taken a matatu. So hard not to be emotional because these are people's lives. It's people's lives essentially that are being disrupted. And you've talked about us seeing it from the government perspective. You've broken down exactly how much room we have to stretch, how much further we can go. But for Kenyans, there's also no room to go. Let's put CS Mbadi in the shoes of a matatu operator. You've talked about foregoing a lot of revenue in the billions, trying to cushion Kenyans, which is very, very true. But the matatu sector is also contributing almost 1 billion shillings daily, just moving through the daily life. That's a massive sector of the economy for Kenyans. When you stop for 1 day, 2 days, however long this strike will take, that's a massive hit to your economy. You're also a matatu operator who cannot pass on the added cost of fuel to the consumer because people will just not take the matatus. They'll stay at home or they'll walk or they'll figure out some other way. Put yourself in those shoes. What are they meant to do as well?
But you see, recognizing that fact, that's why we have taken the decisions that we have taken. That's why we have reduced VAT to 8%. That's why we are applying the petroleum levy to cushion the prices. And that's why the prices are where they are. They would have been much higher. But again, I am not saying nothing can be done. But you have to balance off. That's what I'm saying. There's a balance of scale. And again, emotions that I'm talking about is not about someone who is walking to work. It is about the decision now to call the strike. In my view, it was not necessary to call the strike. You are saying the matatu operators, have we had an engagement with these matatu operators? Have they approached the government? Have they spoken with us and have explained to them like now I'm explaining? And then they say that there is nothing else that the government can do. We haven't had that engagement.
Did you engage them? Who is to engage who here? Because essentially, EPRA is the one giving us a price review on the 14th, going into the 15th. They know who it affects the most. The matatu operators don't know what EPRA is going to do. They don't know how far the price will increase or decrease. So is it government to engage matatu operators or matatu operators to come to government foreseeing that there could be a price increase? It's government.
Let me tell you, I don't think strike is the solution. Look, the price of petroleum products have increased everywhere in the world. Go to the US, which is the net exporter of petroleum products. They have increased by 80%, and I can give you the figures. Even in our neighborhood, I've had people say that prices of petroleum products are cheaper in Uganda and Tanzania. Where is that evidence? I saw my former speaker, my good friend, Mutulu is talking. But you see, get us the facts. The facts I have here, before the recent adjustment in Tanzania, the price of diesel was at 4,248 Tanzanian shilling, which is the price of diesel is 200. When in Kenya it was 196. The price of petrol was at 210. When Kenya it was 197 before the recent adjustment. Sometimes Tanzania behind us. But so when prices start to drop, Kenya will drop faster because we are behind in terms of the story.
Lazima tuangalie
stock.
vile tunasaidiana. So ombi letu ni wana uchukuzi wako wanazungumza na serikali tuangalie mahali tunapita, lakini pia tunaomba kuwa uchukuzi urudi, huduma
they will adjust and it may be higher than Kenya.
wananchi there is no evidence. Then tupate mahali the
prices in Uganda it is
55%. Lakini ukweliani muone ni mono penye ni okebrake koro jomari yambo matatu igeje oduoga epa mondo jopiny ogoti chundiwa
when the companies so it is a catch-22 situation, but we must debate and discuss and solve. That is
it's very easy to decide an officer in looking at this in a macro sense, because what we've explained to Kenyans is the macroeconomics of this. To someone who's in Githurai, they know to hear 56% was reduced and then a further what was reduced. For them, are we going to end up in the same situation next month when there is a review and EPRA says, so we don't have enough in our coffers to because Treasury has said we don't have enough in the subsidy kitty. The President has said we cannot reduce VAT further. Kenyans want to hear from you. You are an authority. You remember the quote that we read at the beginning of this is, you are the person mandated to make a decision. Kenyans want to hear, is there going to be a mitigation to this crisis? Are we putting in stock up measures to make sure that for the next 6 months, someone is not thinking about how the bill of electricity is going high, they go to the market, they have to buy something for X amount. Point is, what is it trickle down effect to the Kenyan who is certain? Not even got into the finance which every other Kenyan right now is just like, what can we expect from this? What is the thing that Kenyans can hold you to right now to say that, fine, today I'm working, but tomorrow government is going to make up the best interest account?
Wamboi, first, I am not just a minister who sits somewhere which link takes decisions. Probably I'm one of those ministers of finance that this country has ever had who has closer interaction with the ordinary French. I have represented people. I still interact with people. This weekend, I was in the village throughout and I've engaged with them. And in one of the rallies, the gentleman came a bottle of fuel and carried it to me. But what are you doing about this? So I understand the sensitivity of this matter, and that is why I took it upon myself to come and debate it. When you told me it would be one of the subjects of discussion, I gladly accepted because we have a responsibility. I am in the decision-making position. We have taken the decisions that we have taken. We have not just been quiet about this. It is a crisis. And I have said, we are going to still again sit further. In the month, the reason why we decided to stagger the application of the 17 billion, 6.2, 5, and then we still have 5 in the kitty to take us to the end of June was in anticipation that going forward, even other months will still require cushioning. We could take a very quick decision and cushion Kenyans 100% without any price adjustment. But to come to May, what would have happened? We would have then passed on the entire burden to the people of Kenya, and it would be a worse crisis. Now, the same would happen in June, but we have been pragmatic enough to say, let us apply 6.2 in April as we watch the development in the international stage. Then, come May, we found there was still no answer, no solution to this. Bring in another 5 billion to push it. Then in June, if this passes, we put another 5 billion. We are hoping that we are going to get into the next financial year now with a new budget. Now, on taxes, because that is the only other option available for us. Because we can't control the prices where they come from. On taxes, we started with VAT. We are looking at the impact. And I'm telling you, that 12 billion is not a small amount, especially in the budget of Kenya. I have now managed it for about 2 years. I know what I'm talking about. We have a very inflexible budget. In fact, sometimes I'm saying, why did we pass so many legislations pegging our budget to percentage, to the extent now you have no leg at all to adjust. But be that as it may, as a government, I am very, very sure and certain that we are going to review this development and see if the next review we can factor in more interventions. If this war is going to stop, and that is not a government that is irresponsible, not responsible. We are responsible. We study. The only thing is, don't move people's mind.
No.
It is very easy. Yeah.
Yes. Respectfully. You are poor at communication. And this is not John Badi, this is the government. It is very poor at communication, and everything that appears this government to be doing, it is responding to this pressure. This pressure of today, on strike, you said, waiting for the president to come so that we can convene a meeting and address this issue and see what else can be done. That is reactive. The last time, you advised everyone to reduce VAT from 16% to 13%. And that same day, in what completely appeared to be the president makes a declaration saying it 16 to 13 to 8. That, if it was John Badi, the opposition MP, would have called it a very populist move. This is a government that is not telling us what it's doing. It's a government that is looking at the situation and saying, let's do something. And then come and tell us, oh no, we have to do this thing. It is not. How come? It is not done. It is
Latif, first,
nimetembea kutoka mbali my friend. Nioji bwana.
After that, all this task two ministries, energy,
Baba dogo, imagine Kalesa hivi.
That is where we go.
Na vile niko smart hivi, imagine
so many other things that
one
we are not aware of being done by EPRA or maybe KBC, and you saw what happened. We are that I gazette a reduction in petroleum in VAT. The law only allows me a limit.
Mimi Kiswahili ndo tunaelewana vizuri.
So when we discuss, then I put out that as we are
sababu niko hapa nimeenda kazi nikaambiwa nirudi nyumbani. Kuna gari. Imagine nimetembea kutoka baba dogo. Zeka road yote nimetembea mpaka sasa nasikia uchungu. Yenyewe one time.
As John Badi as
uliza swali hili.
To do it. And the president then made an announcement that
watu wanateseka.
Watu wanateseka bwana. Wewe imagine hao watu wote sasa wangekuwa kazi. Hizi duka zote sasa zingekuwa zinauza. Hapa kuna janga kidogo yes na hakuna hata moja. Huyu jamaa anafanya vizuri kweli. Kuja unisaidia hata wewe.
Unataka serikali kusaidiaje?
Serikali tafadhali punguza mafuta ama one time. Mr. Ruto tafadhali zako unione. Wewe usipopunguza mafuta one time.
You know.
Hata akipunguza wewe ni one time tu hivyo Hakuna venye mimi naweza tembea hivi na niko smart imagine. Na naenda Lang'ata bado sijafika. Hiyo si ni makosa. Hebu wewe tuambie pia wewe unasikia. Jina, mimi naitwa Brian.
Legislation in record time.
Wacha niseme ya pili naweza vinywa.
You had
Brian ongea kuja bwana ongea.
We have received all the answers here. Now this is
Actually, I'm a kid, yes?
On the 10th.
The reason why I'm here, first of all, like, I came from my work work.
You don't.
But kufika kazi,
Not
I
reactive.
was told
First
there's
of all,
no job.
Latif, I think you are also looking at this matter.
There's no shop
like
which
it's a
has been
straight
open.
concluded,
So we are
understood.
protesting. By the way,
This is
there's
a
no one
crisis.
who is safe.
A crisis that you don't know when
Everything is high.
And by the way, we expected
we have
this
been
crisis to have gone away.
Actually, the government is
It's
still
not going
overtaxing
away.
us. They are
So
not
we will
taxing
still
us.
continue
They are
to respond to it. It's like COVID.
So the reason
No one
why I'm
knew when
here,
COVID would stop. And when it stopped,
actually,
you didn't know the extent. So you have to adjust.
ni kusaidia youth wenzangu by the way.
And the war,
tukiona watu
different
wako hapa,
decisions
si
are
ati
taken
tuko na
on daily
huwezi
basis.
kaa kwa
The
nyumba,
same
you
with
cannot
this.
stay at
You have
home
to
because you have nothing to
look at
take.
the dynamics and
You have
what is
money,
going on. But let me explain.
unakuja kazi unapata kumefungwa.
Price adjustments in the month of
Actually, we are urging the government,
you see,
at least they are taxing. If they are taxing, by the way,
you know, they are real officers.
waangalie pia sisi. We are not rich here.
Okay.
So this government,
want to talk
it
about
seems
money
like
that
it
is
belongs to
But when you are told that
so at least
the ships that are coming and these ones,
If they don't reach an agreement, what happens to the common Wananchi?
Actually, the
which are more expensive,
the
that
common
the
Wananchi
prices
will still suffer.
So you
Right
work
now,
with
there
that understanding.
isn't an agreement.
Like if you lower the prices,
That's why we are
if
suffering.
by Gazette
So
notice,
when
by
they
the
take time
secretary, it will
with that
actually I'm at 12% or 13%. In fact, that's why
Thank you.
but then when you realize that there are some other dynamics that are causing the price to go, the president must be responsive and then Parliament came in and ratified that.
Require us to get our own content. So if you want to film this one, that's fine. But then we will need to speak to somebody else.
Let's be together. Let's have unity so that these things should be one term. We don't
If you want to speak to this person, that's fine. But maybe we can speak to somebody else. Because our bosses are going to require us to get some content that's just for them. So if you want to, please go ahead and we could speak to someone else. Would you like to interview this guy? Yeah. So she will speak to you. And then okay, somebody else. Okay.
Because we're looking for relief, right? He read the book, but I don't think Kenyans understand when you say
Mafuta imekufanyia nini? Imekukost ngapi?
Hapa, this is why we're influenced. As boda riders, we are tired, we have stress within town, with things that we are not working. The only thing that we need, we want to stand firm and stand with one term. There is no thing that we are going to have two terms or wherever. We are tired of this president. Let him freely go home to Sigoi, take care of wherever. Let's stand together as one. What we say? One term. That is this. We don't have anything. In fact, even vote down. We are supposed to go and count for ourselves. We vote. We just take a picture of what we voted, we put it online so that we can count. When we are counting them, that's the thing that we want.
One down, simple
We are tired of this life. That is what we need.
Kasongo must go.
You just see how the town is.
Kasongo lazima uende, one
There's
down.
no work. Kasongo should go. That is what I can
budget because I'm looking for where we can look for reprieve. Something like the railway development levy helps fund railway infrastructure. Is it ring-fenced for this particular purpose, such that we can say, you know what, it's our pick right now. If we have a little bit of a buffer, we can suspend the railway. I'm not saying that that's how to do it, just thinking out loud.
Yeah, but you see, most of these levies have a purpose. That is what they were meant to achieve. Like road maintenance levy, you will agree with me that the same promoters complain of their potholes on the road. And we need that levy to maintain our roads roads. Right now, it has been ruined. Most of the roads have been washed, they've been destroyed. You need to maintain them. This is the money that you use or you spend in maintaining those roads. So the 18 shillings that is applied per litre is meant to go into maintaining roads. So you want to ask yourself whether you compromise on that road maintenance and for how long? Because again, this war, we have no idea when it will end. We might say, yes, for a moment, suspend it. So you suspend it for how long? If you suspend it for a year, maybe the war takes a whole year. Where will you have money to maintain the roads? And will Kenyans listen when you tell them that now we cannot maintain the roads because the money for road maintenance went into pushing petroleum products. So these are decisions that our government has to take. When you talk about the other areas like railways maintenance, again, you remember we had done quite a bit in railway, the SGR, and we are doing even the MTFs. And this needs also maintenance and needs to be put into positions or conditions they can be used effectively. Now, you have also to make that decision. On the others like excise duty and the rest, they come into the budget to finance our budget in ordinary way. And again, looking at our taxes, our ordinary is going down. We have we are trying to be able to have more efficiency in our tax collection, but it is still difficult. And we are making reforms, and the reforms will not bear fruits in a day. So we have a lot of challenges here. And that's why I thought I should come and just communicate it. Maybe it is not a one-day communication that will help fix this, as Latif said. But we can start somewhere. I have started by saying we have done something. Value-added tax, the highest percentage of your market price. The biggest component is VAT. By lowering it by 50%, you have reduced the price by about 15 shillings. These others you find is 4 shillings, maybe they are still 17. But the biggest was VAT. So we have looked at that VAT. Is there room to look at it further? That is something that we'll consider. Maybe the next review, but it has consequences because if we then we have so that is where we must check where do we put it.
Just as the reason I asked if any of these are ring-fenced is because is there a way for me to tell that this road maintenance levy goes into maintaining roads, this railway maintenance levy goes into maintained, or it just goes into this one big kitty and government goes through what it needs to do and pays off the checklist from debt to salaries?
It's a combination. There are some that maybe you can call it ring-fenced, including the stabilization of prices, which we have applied. Like I mentioned, the road maintenance levy and the railway development levy. But I would also say that apart from the 7 shilling, all these others you can make adjustment. You can pass a legislation and remove them, cut them, and reduce them. But the bottom line is, as you do that, you must also consider that. So, yeah, but the 7 shillings is ring-fenced.
Give a final answer to everybody who is all these people in the transport industry, people in the manufacturing sector whose diesel cost has gone up that much, people across the country are now this rise in fuel prices. What is the government prepared to do in response to this crime?
Yeah, what the government is prepared to do is to monitor the situation. We have the next by 14th of June. The government is not sensitive enough to look at that review and see that the price of petroleum products as they come with the ships, the prices that will be announced in June already we can determine the prices of the ships loaded and everything. So this we will look at the subsidy kitty that we have, 5 billion, and look at if that is not going to be sufficient, it's going to lead to higher prices, then what do we do? Then we may now come again and see if we can reduce, especially when reduce VAT, we will have to check and what do we cut in terms of expenditure. And that is a whole government approach. So what we probably need here going into June, what maybe we will advise, I personally advise is to communicate better to Kenyans as we approach June, so that they are not caught by surprise. You know, we have been used to situations where April it keeps us in the dark, just like we used to have the budget previously, where night, following days budget speed to know which prices we give. That is not there anymore. Probably what now April needs to do is in terms of communication and tell them, yes, this is what we project. Look, the prices of petroleum products, what they call the plant price, the index price is this much. The freight costs, the premiums will be this much. Out of that, the government is cushioning things. Then the government can now determine, we make a decision that are we going to then Kenyans know that this is what government can do. And by June 14, these are the range of prices that we expect this much. So that, because I think when I saw the news, that price shock, price hike, I think it is high time that as a government we learn that shouldn't be the case. We should not have a shock. We should not have surprises.
That's one, but for the next month, prices will remain as is clearly until the next review. Yes.
Yes, that is the case.
Let's move on to matters now. Siasa kidogo. The weekend. Hiyo ni maisha wa Kenya. Sasa nao hiyo si siasa. Back and forth we've seen between some factions of ODM, yourself talking to some members of the Raila family who you're saying are wanatumia jina yake sana. Their responses to you, will play those clips very, very quickly before we get Waziri's remarks and what's happening inside ODM at this time.
Cannot keep us back. Baba said this. Baba did not say this. Where is that Baba now to give us the evidence whether he said or he did not say? Baba is no more. This is Australia era. We must be candid, we must be forthright, and we must check our way.
People who are talking recklessly now, just because Baba is not there, I feel very offended because Baba said to hear some of the comments people are what Baba said. Please, yeah? Whether you're CS, whether you're PS, whether you're no. You must be my phone. Haimaanishi wewe nini viongozi mko na magari mko na hapana. Heshima sio mtumu. Baba nikajua si mtu wa kuongea sana. Mimi mtu wa niambie nifanye hivi. Tusonge.
You know, we have a party where someone, because she's sister of a party leader, she thinks she can also order us around. You cannot.
We would like to see, as Raila family, participation of the Raila family within the program.
You think Oburu is old? You think Oburu is weak? I can assure you, I am not weak. Gold is gold.
All right. We've heard from Winnie Odinga, Raila Odinga Jr. We've also heard from CS Mbadi. We've also heard from youth leader Oburu Oginga. Just two sides of the fray. Let me begin with your statement, CS, which is, essentially you can't hold people hostage, always invoking the name of the late Raila Odinga. That would be true if the party was bigger than Raila Odinga, which seemingly is not the case, no?
I think we need to understand the genesis of this debate. It is interesting that we're talking about Mbadi versus Odingas. I don't think that is correct. I can never be pitted against the Odingas or Odinga family, so to speak. I respect that family a lot. I started serving under Raila when I was a student, actually at the age of 20, and I never dropped that ball. Actually, if there's any one person who has listened to Raila, I'm one of them. I may not be related to him so closely by blood, but in terms of political engagement, we have been very, very close. So seeing that is actually hurting. I know there are people who may think that I've probably not been hurt as they are, but I know how the death of Raila did hurt me. And I think many people who are around me know that. So pitting me against the Odingas is not really right. But I just want to talk about the genesis of this discussion. This was a closed-door meeting, and in fact it's unfortunate that one of us decided to make this a public debate. We first started, our leaders, or the party leaders, saying today we want to talk candidly because we are seeing a crisis in the party. Now, a lot of debate went on. People from other regions actually pointed a finger at the Nyanza, more particularly the Luo community, that we are the ones who are bringing disunity and disruption in the party. To a large extent, I agree. A lot of noise is around that space. Look at Northeastern, they are calm. Look at the coast, they are not much problem. Even in Western, no much problem. Turkana, you don't see much problem. Masai, there's no much problem. These guys support ODM, but there's a lot of noise, chaos, and tension in our backyard, which should be the bedrock of the party. Now, in response, I actually say I agree with those people who are saying that ODM is not a tribal party. It is not a community party. And I want to hear them say this is not a regional party, it's not a CIA party. Yeah, where you see, we have already made the senator the party leader. Then the governor comes and also announces himself as a party leader, simply making it look like it's a fair fight. And then I say it is not a family party. And I pointed out because I was not actually talking about backbiting my sister. She was present, and I said, you see, we had a lot of respect for her, and we have a lot of respect for her. But the fact that my brother is the party leader does not give me that latitude to also come in and start ordering people around. And I had a reason to say that.
Was she ordering people around?
Now, yeah, pardon? I will tell you there's a lot. I don't want to discuss that because we
not just yes or no.
Yes, it is true. It is true.
What does ordering people around?
Let me tell you, Latif, the party knows. If I want to tell you something, if the people who are in Mombasa are diehard Raila supporters, look at when I made that statement. There was standing ovation. People came to hug me. If I said anything negative about her, I don't think that the crowd would have cheered. I don't think that crowd would have come to embrace me. In fact, they would have booed me. Because I know how Raila is in the heart of the supporters. But let me put it this way. Raila Odinga built ODM, and I worked. There can be people who are closer by blood to Raila than me. People who are more Raila's friend than me. But I will tell you, there's no one living who ever managed a party longer with Raila. So I know where his heart was in terms of managing ODM. Raila Odinga did not intend to leave the family party. That would not be the Raila Odinga I know. Raila Odinga did not intend to leave a regional party. He wanted ODM to be a national party that would live beyond him. And he kept on repeating it. So that is why I was saying, let us not invoke Raila's name every day. Raila has left us. And the legacy we can give Raila is to have a united ODM. That is what he prayed for. And so if someone now decided to invoke emotions and portray for her own selfish interest that I said something negative about the Odinga family, I have nothing. I cannot help that person. I can only pray for that person.
You know, you're saying one thing on one side and then saying a different thing on the other side.
Which is this?
I want to be very clear. Are there, because you say that even though it's like you're speaking for a silent majority who came up with you, who clapped for you, and you started saying this in Mombasa, and who also silently and privately are supporting you in this. Are you saying that direct members of the Odinga family have been trying to micromanage the party or influencing decisions?
You know, when we made Oburu Odinga the party leader, I don't think the consideration was just that he was Jaramogi's son or Raila's brother. There are other factors. Right? Oburu is the most experienced politician. Oburu in our space now. Oburu is our elder. Oburu was very loyal to Raila. And I will tell you, from the time he got into politics, and Raila is his younger brother, so many people would have looked at their brother and said, I'm the one who should be in that space. He didn't. Raila also trusted him. That's why he made him assistant minister for finance. And even any negotiation, it was all But look, there have been issues. There have even been family meetings, isn't it? To resolve some of the issues. And Latif, I wanted to not to go into the details of appearing like I'm criticizing some behavior. But in my view,
Unaogopa kushikwa?
and he can also the others.
Apart from kusema one time, mnataka mnataka kuambia nini serikali? Mnaogopa? Hamwezi shikwa.
What I'm saying, you get the clips for discussions, including the funeral at the council. So what I'm saying is, we need. I don't even talk about Winnie. But Winnie brought herself into this. I don't know from where she got it. Maybe someone will say that. And I will tell you.
Now we're eliminating as you go.
Yeah.
Now we're left with Ruth and Joe.
You see, Latif, my speech in Mombasa, I talked about someone who was present. And it was true. You are bringing in this and or they brought themselves. And I told you, in her presence, my sister, it is your brother who is not you. And we think you should support her and support her. I told her that, and she had an opportunity to respond. It's only that it has not come. And it was a closed meeting. How that has become a fight between someone decided coming out to portray that there was an attack. There was none. If there was an attack, I'll tell you, the ODM brigade, that room, you would have even heard by now some people condemning. How come there is no one who was in that room who has ever come out to support the position that and I did not hear it.
Oh, downtown hakuna kitu.
So let's start. Mama Aida, she was speaking. Where is that?
Yes.
So it appears to she's responding. She's referring to what you said. They're asking where is it. She even puts the person in the Bible says one person is gone, but their name and legacy lives on. So you can't just assume they're gone. That's mad. Video. That's the film. Just use it to order us around. Junior yesterday saying similar stuff. So the Mama Aida family appears to be responding to you. Why?
Yeah, so Mama Aida, I think she probably was given the right position of what I said. I had and I've not responded deliberately because I think she didn't understand. I actually said she was given a professional response. The reason why I asked where is people tell us, and you hear it, that Raila said this. I'm personally fed up with it. He's been to so many things and told us so many things, including some secret meetings where I went in Samburu with him. There are things he told us. But why would I keep on repeating that Raila said this and Raila is not here with us? So I said Raila is not here with us. And it is in that context. And is it not true that Raila is not here with us? Or is it English that I don't understand? Raila is no longer with us. He left us. And we are very pained with that. But there is nothing we can do. It's the decision of God. Now we are left here as his lieutenants. The best we can do is to maintain peace, unity in the party. Don't use his name to disrupt the party. That's what I said. And now how that turns around, like I am saying, now Raila is no more. It is interpretation that is meant to achieve some selfish, short-term gains, political gain. Because pengine, what I told you, pricked you. And that is exactly what I wanted. I wanted the person who is doing that to know that the ODM supporters are not happy. And I want to repeat it again. If what I said in Mombasa can be correctly construed to mean that I said Raila is not there and therefore it is what is it that you tell them? Those people who have not clapped for. Those people were not cheering. Look at that crowd. They cheered me, they gave me a standard version because I said what I felt was right, and which was this: that we need unity in Odia, that please don't invoke Raila's name anyhow. Let Raila rest. Let those of us who are left behind manage this party. Uburu is now stepping in as party. It is a fixed. What Raila wanted is a functioning structure. In fact, apart from Uburu, all these party officials were left by Raila. Raila was not stupid to leave those two deputy party leaders. He left the chairperson in office. So we even destabilized the party. Fine. Now, on the issue, really, I don't know what the issue is. She started talking. I think she wanted to say, I'm not doing very well in the treasury. I don't think that is correct. I know how to balance myself. And by the way, I did not do interview to be a CS national treasurer. I was appointed politically. I am a political animal. You cannot gather, and you cannot take that away from me. I have big ambitions, which probably she also has. But I also want to be president. And I move around. I talk to Kenyans. You cannot stop me to pigeonhole me on 14th floor even in the weekend to work on the national treasury. And by the way, as a CS, I go out there to also explain the policy. Because that is the one that I have to communicate. How do I communicate sitting in an office and pushing paper? They did not employ a clerk. I am not a director general of budget or whatever. I am the CS. I am the minister. I speak to Kenyans. Here at the TV station, I speak to them at Jivanji Garden. I speak to them even in my wardrobe. I speak in public rallies. And by the way, if you feel that I'm not executing my job properly, in fact, removing me from this office is the easiest than where I came from. You just talk to my appointing authority and you convince him that I'm not delivering. And I go home. But you cannot stop me from communicating to Kenyans. I will communicate. I will talk.
So,
if you hear me.
Hey, there's quite a number of fixers joining us on the line who I don't quote the conversation on Phil. For about an hour and 15 minutes, that was our conversation with CS Mbadi. I would urge you to just press the rewind button kidogo and hopefully get the answers we're looking for. The long and short of it is until the next Phil review on the 15th of next month, tuko hapa hapa. Hashtag is Fixing the Nation NTV with CS John Mbadi. When we come back, Liberty Party leader of Jubilee, Jeremiah Kioni, is in studio.
Where is that fire?
You work so hard. You show up every day. You do what's expected of you. But deep down, you know the truth. One paycheck shouldn't decide how your life turns out. But what if your evenings made progress? What if your weekends built freedom? What if your laptop became more than just a screen? This isn't about quitting your job. It's about giving yourself options. While others call, you start building. Quietly, consistently, and on your own terms. No pressure, no discipline. Just a clear system you can run after work, before work, or whenever life gives you a turn. That's what Goldmine on hustlesafrica.com is for.
problem.
Oh, I was in the... okay.
Makasi watafute uongozi pamoja, wasitafute. Wewe una maana gani? Una maana wewe ni binadamu ya maana tupu. Mashamba yetu jiganga na mafuta yako Afrika madhani ya gosho ngai no mwega naendesho de wakati hiyo ilikuwa kusema ngwe ndani ngwe tu alikuwa ananisumbua sana ni Atwoli, nikaita Atwoli na ni mzee mzuri kwa sababu alinisikiza, kwa sababu hiyo sheria tulikuwa tumebadilisha 2016 lakini Atwoli akapeleka kotini akasema hapana, hataki pesa ya iongezeke, anataka tu tuendelee kulipa 200. So alafu nikamsukuma sana, saa ile karibu nimpate, wakakuwa marafiki na Uhuru. Basi nikashindwa sasa wakakaa hapo na Uhuru wakapinga hiyo maneno. Sasa Mungu ni nani? Si mimi nimekuwa rais? Sikumaliza wiki 2 kwa hii ofisi kaita Atwoli. Si wewe ulisema kateni miti? Wale wako karibu na William Samoei Ruto kule sehemu za Sugoi wakate miti isiwe karibu, kwa ajili tarehe 9 usubuhi ya huyo usiku kura itatangazwa na huyo mtoto atajinyonga. Wakate miti. Lakini haikuwa mapenzi ya Mungu hiyo ulikuwa unasema. Mimi ndio niko hapa. Songa hivi kidogo. Sasa mzee, ile kesi umetuwekea kotini enda wapi? We can't be able to cover the digital.
Na platform Beki Masai. Masai. Live from the this guy is not going to go. This guy does not belong to go. In fact, that also was going to scare back. Hii mnafika mwingi baada mweka tena mkaleta nyumbani hapa. Badiste watu. Jana alikuwa? Jana sikuwa sijui.
As well, you can see mapolisi wamekuwa wengi kila pahali.
Mitihani ya kitaifa ya darasa la 9 na kidato cha 4 inakuja. Je, mtoto wako yuko tayari? Pata revishoni au ada ya masomo ya online kutoka kwa walimu bora zaidi nchini Kenya. Tunafundisha gredi la 9 na kidato cha 4 masomo kama sayansi, maths, physics, biology na chemistry kila Jumamosi na Jumapili. Tunawafundisha wanafunzi revishoni ya madarasa mtandaoni. Tutumii Zoom, Skype na WhatsApp. Wazazi wanaona matokeo mazuri na
country bus napata shots poa.
Chairman, walk.
They want to come back admit them, but we admit them, but they must know that when they come with a tail which is a coil tail, and they cannot think that they will start from the top. They will not start from the top. That is it.
Why don't you
Who's party leader?
Yeah, Uhuru is our party leader.
Who's party leader in Jagiro? You're not ODM yourself.
What makes you think that I'm not ODM?
You keep saying it. Am I not starter?
You are not in ODM yourself?
I'm not in ODM.
Which party are you in? Safid?
I'm in the next party.
The next party? Which is which one?
Don't worry.
But I thought this was a man from Ojiki's party, but what happened?
He's on strike.
It looks like you don't give him what he wants. All right, people of the internet, thank you very much for joining us this wonderful evening. It is 7:41. You know, green with winter. You know that? It's 7:41 on the dot. I see Odhiambo is in Kisumu. Thank you very much, people of the internet, for joining us today. I want to welcome each and every one of you. And my camera really looks amazing, man. Have you guys seen my camera? It's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Thank you very much.
Your camera is good.
Giving me a very
Beautiful.
beautiful camera today. Okay, so we have Eugene Odola, a sane man of the internet, reporting at our political fireplace. Thank you very much. Mr. Tom is saying hello there, people of the internet, watching live from Desmonios.
Iowa.
I don't know how to pronounce that.
Unaishi Monio.
Desmonios, Iowa. Okay, that thing is saying hello there, people of the internet. Welcome to the summer. Welcome to the fireplace. This is truly the fireplace. Hello there, people of the internet, tuning in from Kiambu. Diabotino is saying, I am here with his hand with no hair.
Somebody's already asking me about my hat.
Yeah, the hat looks great, my man. Irene Odora is saying, hello there, people of the internet. Kamakawa, Kamadawa. It's Irene from Kiserian. Tunde, thank you very much. Gen Z lawyer is in the room. Yes, of course, when you see the bar. He's got his... Where are you? Oh, I can see his stuff. He's down there.
Where am I?
Your stuff is down there. I can see your paper.
Oh, yeah, my notes.
Sylvester is saying, another person of the internet has checked in. Tuesday. Thank you very much. Welcome again. Diabo is saying, tutoe Omunyoro zote. Omunyoro? No, Diabo. We have some nini. What is it called? Corazon is saying, good evening, people of the internet. Joachim and Gen Z, the finance bill is a step away from Vision 2030 with the proposals in there. Okay? Is Adrian overdressed? We think so. I think he's overdressed. He's having a coat.
Exactly. What does it? Very simple overdress.
Hey, Double O today is on the chat. Yes, you know the boy is on the chat today. Okay, we love Gen Z lawyer. They love you too. We love him too much. Corona cannot allow you to go without being heckled. Right, so what is the political temperature of the day? Mr. Sibiu, I want to start with you. What is your GT up to? What are you guys doing? And the fuel prices are up. What do you think about that? I want to give you an opportunity, 1 or 2 minutes, to talk about the temperature of the country and where we are going.
The temperature of the country is that typically politics starts from chaos, then it goes to organization. We've had a chaotic political temperature. We've had people shouting slogans and counter slogans, but I think we've come to a place where now people are getting to their senses to think about their tomorrow, to think about their life. And you've asked me about what my party leader is up to.
Yes.
My party leader is up to a plan to liberate Kenya ultimately.
Okay.
Because Kenya is a country that needs liberation. We've been saying that government will always find a way to avert the problem. That government will always create. That all this we are foreseeing is just prophecy of God.
Okay.
But when you approach things from a numbers side, numbers are always truth. So if anyone wants to say the truth, they should speak the language of numbers. And in our language of numbers, we find that we are heading towards a cliff. Therefore, there is need for us to step on the brake pedal and change direction. And that's exactly what my party leader is up to. And today he will be on Sunday Live. Jeff Koinange.
Jeff Koinange, the money to do.
Yes. You see, that's even enmity. People do not take people to court because of enmity. It's because you want to settle a question. And if these people take each other to court and today they are having a show, it is reconciliatory talk that the country is bigger than two individuals having. So today it will be the chance for the Kenyan people to listen to a man with a clear plan. Now we've been seeing bulletins of people saying they are bringing a plan. They speak for 2 hours, but they still leave us with the question of what is the plan. But today Kenyans will have a chance to make a decision.
Okay.
They will realize the Safina party is led by the most brilliant party leader in this side of the hemisphere.
Okay. Yes. Right. That is fine. At Political Headache, we give each and every person the opportunity to trumpet their agenda. Yeah, and that's a good thing. And it's interesting that you had a very good effort to throw it away.
No, I didn't throw it.
Can you
Why did you throw it away?
I don't know.
That is your identity right now. I think you should be worried more.
Jagero had threatened me.
Let me see. But I had threatened him that I don't want that on the show today. So he decided. But when you were on the other side, he said, I'm going to wait. If you don't want it, I'm going away. So I also backtracked. Okay. It's a very good one, right?
Yes.
Looks good, right?
So people have been asking questions. Let me tell you.
Okay.
This is Safina part.
Okay.
Now on the side we have Safina Pesa.
That is the most interesting part of it. And then you don't want us to say Safina na Pesa.
No, Safina Pesa.
Yeah, but what is Safi?
Safi is we want a country where you make your living in a clean way.
Oh, Safi na Pesa.
Yes, you don't have to get
like your money living in a clean way.
Yes. Very clean. People have tried to mansplain.
Don't put it on. Don't put it on.
No, so that people can see. For the
cameras were set without you having the camera. Yeah.
So they will wonder.
They will wonder. Okay, I want to welcome Mr. Adrian Olwach. Mr. Adrian Olwach, I want you to say hi to the people of the internet. Tell us what is the political temperature of the country, especially given that we are going to be talking about the bill that you have decided to call Monster Bill. What do you think about the temperature of the country?
Okay, the temperature of the country once again puts our experts on the spot. We've now had Opio and like now we have also had Mbadi, the cabinet secretary for treasury, who's now a loudmouth rather than being a CS. So all these people have been tested for quite some time, and they told us that the reason why we are going to be having a broad-based government is because we are going to be introducing new experts who are going to be solving the problems that other experts could not be solved. But now the situation has turned worse than before.
Okay.
And the people whom we thought were experts are now even worse than we could ever imagine. The cabinet secretary for energy, Honorable Opio and I, has been rocked by problems ever since he took government, or he took the position of being the energy sector. And right now we are having the problem of fuel. And it seems like the government cannot be able to explain to us why we are having these fuel hiking prices consistently for about 3 times in just a span of 3 months. When you ask them, why is it that Tanzania has lower fuel prices than Kenya, or Uganda has lower fuel prices, they can't seem to give you a substantive answer. When you ask them, why is it that other foreign global countries are not experiencing the surge in fuel prices, but you still keep on blaming the war in Iran or Iraq, they still can't substantively come up with an answer or convince Kenyans this is the reason why we are having fuel prices. But also Kenyans are very smart. They have also dug deep to see what has been happening with our government when it comes to fuel importation. There was a deal that was called government to G2G.
Yeah.
Right now they're calling it government to gangsters. Others are calling it gangsters to gangsters.
Gangsters to gangsters.
Gangsters to gangsters.
To gangsters sounds beautiful. Yes. Gangsters to gangsters.
Yes, but it is now from government because bodies like the Saudi Arabian government bodies have been very genuine with their people. They are selling oil for the interest of their countries to reinvest in real estate. Real estate But the people who are supposed to be buying our fuel are not as genuine as we had thought. So that is why they have not been able to explain to us why we even needed this G2G government project that we are having. But aside from the fuel that we definitely also break down on this show, there's been an issue that has been consistent right now for 1 week, and it is the issue of the new finance bill of 2026. And once again, the finance bill is put on the spot. Okay, if you look at the finance bill has not been visible or to introduce bad visible taxes like it did in 2024, because the government learned that if you introduce visible taxes, then it triggers anger. But what the government has focused on in the finance bill 2026 is something that we call tax surveillance or data surveillance. So they have not introduced very visible taxes like we saw in 2024 from bread, from whatever you're drinking or what you're is eating in the morning. But they are focused more on automating tax compliance, expanding tax surveillance, and also expanding KRA powers as their major focus of increasing tax collection.
So thank you very much. We're going to go into the activities of the bill. And we want to go a little bit to the political temperatures. And there's a silent but friendly supremacy battle between Siaya Governor James Orengo and Nairobi Senator Edwin Sifuna over who is the de facto leader of the breakaway Linda Wananchi faction, which has now emerged. By the way, I was having Mr. Caleb Amisi here, and Caleb Amisi was very forthright about the things that he does not like about how Linda. I don't know if you watched that episode, but that
I did.
That episode was very illuminating in so many ways.
It's one of the episodes you've done when I'm away that I paid very close attention.
Yeah.
So
why were you paying a close attention to it?
Because it's my area of concern. And because Linda Mwananchi is being led by a person from where I come from.
Yes.
So, and he's speaking the language of the people.
Okay.
So from a party that equally speaks the language of the people, birds of the same feathers, in most cases, flock together. So the reason why I paid attention to that particular interview is because for the first time since the inception of this group called Linda Mwananchi, I was hearing two differing voices.
Okay.
One from Sifuna, who was exhibiting conciliatory tone towards the Gachagwas of this world. And then we have Caleb Amisi, who maintained that that is not the right direction to go. But that begs the question, begs the attention that I actually paid to it, that what's really happening. And I do not know if I'm qualified to give my 2 cents.
But looking at the attitude and the body language of Caleb Amisi and the things that are coming from his mouth, because one of the things that he was very, that he emphasized a lot was the reason why he started Linda Wananchi, because he says that Linda Wananchi did not start with actually Linda Wananchi, the name. It started with Kenya Moja. And he's saying that he called all these guys together. And Raila actually knew about this, that he was calling these people together, because Raila was treating this as his side vehicle that he could use at any time. But what did you infer from Caleb Amisi's statement?
You see, these are children of Raila. And I do not want to burst the bubble, but the curse that comes with the ability to see the invisible. Let me try to paint this picture clearly.
Okay.
This Linda Mwananchi team seems to be led by people who paid very close attention to how Raila used to do things.
Okay.
And Raila never got into any agreement without an exit strategy.
Okay.
So you have two factions within your team, the militant team and the diplomatic team. So you use the militant team as your exit strategy. And I was thinking, one of the thoughts that came to my mind was that, could they be playing the same playbook where Sifuna poses a conciliatory tone, but Hamisi comes with a companion, where you can't really tell where the direction is, where they head. And that is the playbook that kept Baba on the cliff of Kenyan politics, on the edge, but he never fell. But just to wade into the deep waters, I think If you asked me,
Okay.
Sifuna has to ask himself, why is he popular now? What thrust him into this line?
Okay.
Because he came into limelight 1 year after Gachagua, Matiangis, and Kalonzos were running something called the United Opposition. So if Kenyans viewed the United Opposition as the alternative to William Ruto, then I think Sifuna wouldn't have won.
Okay.
Because there was no need for another option. So
or he wouldn't have gotten that much attention.
Liking. The emergence of Sifuna is because of the existence of the people that do not want William Ruto, but at the same time, they have no trust and belief in the existing opposition. So they were hanging in there. So Sifuna came with some freshness, some new lines. And therefore the people say, we do not want, we do not want these old guys. So let us go with the young titan. And the how do I call it? The approach Sifuna have had with the status quo is what excites the young people. So him attempting to go back to this Gashaguas of this world, he is going to lose a very good support system that has thrust him into this life. Because we in Safina are saying this, that one side is for status quo, which is President Ruto's side. The other side is change without change, which is this other side.
That is the United Opposition.
Yes.
The people that have ruled for 50 years.
Yes.
The men
That's
that was in
change
Ruto's
without
first
change.
government.
Because I can confidently tell you that the only change we will get, if those are the brothers we give power,